Hello, everyone. This is Kurt from the Saturn Studs podcast, bringing you a how-to guide on how to sort of accomplish what Peter and I have accomplished, and how we're going to continue the Let's Play side of our channel while we're apart. I spent a lot of time sifting through a lot of different guides and stuff they're useful and kind of helped pointed me in the right direction, but there was no one concise guide that was for how to do a long distance multi-man let's play. So I figured, why don't I save you all the trouble and kind of share what I learned throughout my process of trying to figure this out with you all. So if you're in a situation where you have similar needs, you can go ahead and follow this tutorial, and hopefully you'll be set up pretty well, like we feel we are. So there's a few pieces of software you're going to need. First and foremost, DxTory. DxTory is a video capture tool that allows you to record your game footage or output your game footage as a virtual webcam of sorts, which is the functionality that we're going to be utilizing most in this guide. Now, you can use DxTory as your one-stop shop, and you won't need another piece of software we're going to discuss later, Open Broadcaster software. If you do that, more power to you. I will just say that if file size is a concern, I would recommend using OBS as your recording software. If it isn't, or you're going to do a lot more post-processing than I like to do, then go ahead, use DxTory as your one-stop shop. Now, this is not free software. I believe a license is $30 or $36. There are certainly dishonest methods to obtain a DxTory license, but I would say that if you at all think you're going to be streaming a lot, or you think that let's plays are like an important part of your life, a hobby of yours, I would say go ahead and sink the $30 into it. It's probably going to be the best $30 you spend in your let's play career. So once you have DxTory downloaded, installed, and activated, go ahead and open it up. Now, when you open it up, you're going to be on this screen. If you're using OBS, be sure to add to the ignore list both the 32-bit and 64-bit versions of OBS to avoid any conflicts. If you're not, don't worry about it. Moving on to the next tab, you can configure your overlay settings. I think the default is fine. I don't really have a strong preference, but if you're very persnickety about how you like your layout to be, go ahead and mess around to your liking. I'm not using DxTory to record my footage, but if I were, I'd go ahead and I'd select a folder I want it to record to, and recommend that you do a speed test and go ahead and do your speed test, and then that'll all be taken care of. But again, I am not using DxTory for its recording capabilities, so I don't need to mess around with that. But if you were, that's how you do it. Over here, these are hotkey settings. Start and stop movie capture is pretty much the only hotkey you need to worry about. I use Numpad Plus because I don't really use that for anything else. It's conveniently located on my keyboard, and I like having my hotkeys on the numpad. This is kind of the down and dirty here of what we're doing. So, if you're using DxTory to record as well as stream, I highly, highly recommend that you go ahead and pick up the Lagarif Lossless Video Codec. I'll have a link to this and pretty much everything else I talk about in the description of the video. Now, this will give you video quality that is pretty much identical to the default DxTory video codec. However, the file size will be about 80% that of the default video codec that DxTory uses. So, there's no need for your files to be needlessly larger. So, go ahead and download that. That's an easy install. Frame rate, we keep it at 30 for our needs. That's fine for us. We're playing a game that doesn't go over 20 frames per second because it's a Game Boy Advance game. But if you want to record in 60, go ahead and record in 60. I will warn you, though, that 60 frames per second it's going to roughly double your file size. Now, this output tab here is where the magic happens, so to speak. So if you're going to be recording and streaming, for lack of a better word, go ahead and make sure these are both ticked. If you're just going to be streaming, make sure that the direct show output is ticked, and you can leave this unticked. Audio, basically the only things to remember here is make sure that your first device is the same device that you are outputting the call of your VoIP client to, and make sure you remember to add in your microphone. That's about all the stuff we need to worry about here. You don't need to worry about screenshots or any of the advanced settings. That's just information about your software version. Now, this little yellow video settings tab here, this is where the real magic happens. So DxTory is a kind of amazing software when it comes to this aspect, where it allows you to output to 4 separate virtual cameras with configurable resolutions at the same time. So if you go ahead and you're in your game and you hit your hotkey, automatically there are 4 virtual webcams at the resolutions you've designated outputting at the same time. So like I send the 480p feed because I have kind of crappy internet when I'm home to Peter, and that's what he sees, and I record with the 720p feed at the same time, and that's just, it's bonkers. I really like it. You can also set an image for your blank recording when you don't have anything going on. I do that just so you don't have to look at a black background. It adds a nice touch. You don't have to do that. It's a completely unnecessary step. Now, again, if you're using DxTory for recording as well as streaming, you don't need to do this next step. But if you aren't, welcome to Open Broadcaster software. This is the download here. This is a free open source streaming application. So if you want to get into streaming, I highly recommend you download this and kind of learn how to use it. I'll go over what you need for recording, but there are plenty of tutorials on how to set up a stream with OBS, and I will tell you now that DxTory will make your life so much easier because you won't have to configure multiple sources for each game. It'll make your life so much easier. Trust me when I say that. Now, if we're using OBS to record like we are, we're going to go ahead and let's add a scene. So we'll call this tutorial. So you all can see, I probably spelled that wrong. So you all can see from the ground up how we kind of do this. So we're going to add a video capture device. We'll just call it a video capture device. Now, this is where we go and we select a DxTory video source. That is the resolution that we want to record at. Go ahead and hit that. Now you can add in overlays to this too if you want, and throw in all kinds of bells and whistles, but if all you need it for is recording your game footage, just that video capture source is all you're going to need. So we'll take a quick stroll through the settings here on encoding. I recommend you use the X264 encoder as it has the best ratio of file size to quality that I have experimented with. I would advise that you don't check use CBR because the variable bitrate encoding on OBS is what allows it to have its very good file size, because it'll allow it to record at a lower bitrate when there's not much going on in your game. Quality balance 8 is fine for me. We'll go in the audio encoding. MP3 will help keep the file size low, and it sounds good enough. I honestly can't tell much of a difference between MP3 and AC. 128 bitrate is fine. If you want to further reduce the file size, you can drop that down to 96. But 128 is a good number in my opinion. Broadcast settings, we're not really, if you wanted to get into live streaming, you go ahead and configure those settings. There's many a tutorial on how to do that with people who understand it a bit better than I do. But if you're not, just select the file path that you want your videos to go to, like you did in DxTory. Yes, sure, we'll apply the changes that we didn't make. So this is just your video settings. You can downscale your resolution if you need to. Don't worry too much about that. It's not a huge deal. Alright, so audio settings, again, same deal as DxTory. Make sure that your desktop audio device is the same as the audio output device for your VoIP client, and make sure that you have your microphone checked. hotkeys, go ahead and configure these to whatever you want. I use numpad 2 and numpad 3 respectively for start and stop recording. I don't need to mess around with the advanced tab or any of these other things. You're good to go. So when you were going to start recording, just hit your hotkey, or come in here and hit start recording. I'm already recording a tutorial, so obviously I'm not going to be able to show you that, but I have confidence that you'll all be able to figure it out. So you might be lucky, and DxTory might play nice with your Google Hangout or your Skype webcam settings, but for me that was not the case. So what you're going to need is a piece of software called Manycam. Now this is free software, kind of. There are some limitations placed on the free version of the software, but there are just limited resolutions and a watermark that isn't intrusive at all. And since you aren't recording from Manycam as a source, they really don't matter. But if you really feel you need to stream the 720p to your partners, go ahead and spring for the pro version of Manycam. But if you're not, you go in here, go to the playlist tab. This is where you add your video sources. Go ahead and add the desired DxTory video source. I have the 720p one in here. That's all well and good. And now for your VoIP solution, you can either use Skype or Google Hangouts. Peter and I have had more success with Google Hangouts than we have with Skype in terms of video quality. So we are going to recommend that you use Google Hangouts. So yeah, but you can use Skype. I'll show you how to configure Skype. Go in your tools, options, and here are our options. Audio settings, make sure that the speakers are the same that you're recording with either DxTory or OBS. Microphone, make sure that's your microphone. Pretty basic stuff. Webcam, select Manycam virtual. Don't worry about this being mirrored. It won't be mirrored for the people receiving your call. For whatever reason, that's just the way it works. So don't worry about this being mirrored. Go ahead and save. If you're using Hangouts, pretty much the same procedure. Go ahead and start your video call Hangout. And we go over to settings. No, we don't need to invite anyone. We go over to settings and just make sure that Manycam is your video source and that your microphone is your microphone and your speakers are the same thing you're recording. Now again, you might get lucky and you might not need Manycam because the DxTory videos might be compatible with Hangouts or Skype for you. They weren't for me, so Manycam just kind of makes everything play nice in the sandbox, but if you don't need it, you don't need it. That's pretty much how it goes. You record your OBS or your DxTory, and they can see your game. There's a little bit of lag, but it's certainly workable. They can see your game. If you want them to hear your game, that's a little more complicated procedure. But if there is enough interest, I will be more than happy to make a tutorial for that as well. Once again, all the links to the programs that I showed you will be in the description, and you can always leave a comment asking a question or email us at saturnstuds@outlook.com. Be sure to stick around and watch our Shining Force playthrough. Actually, hold up. Before I forget, I just want to show you briefly that I'm not full of shit and I'm not showing just a solid image. So let's go ahead and open up our... That's not the right folder. Let's go ahead and open up our Shining Force ROM. 1530. That's the one. So we should have our overlay kick in here. Alright, for whatever reason the overlay is not open, probably because I closed DxTory. Oh no, I didn't. But anyway, you go ahead, you'd hit your plus key on your number pad, and you should be able to see the stream going on your Manycam. There it is. So there you go, you're live streaming, and if you have any questions and you want to know how to do the game audio, I will be more than happy to make a tutorial on that. But other than that, leave a comment, a like, and a subscription would be Also appreciated. Stick around for our playthrough of Shining Force and listen to our podcast every week. Links to all that good stuff is also in the description. So thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope this was helpful to you all, and I'll see you all later. So again, thanks for watching.